Perfect. Okay. Hello.
Okay, and we're back.
We're back and better than ever.
Can we just talk about the fact that we've gotten here 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am not.
We're busy bees.
We're busy bees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's just the start of a habit. That's hard for me. But we made it here.
Yes.
And
I'm proud of us.
Proud of us. Proud of you.
It's hard. You know what? I'm proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.
So proud of you. It's hard.
Gross.
It's hard to. It's hard to keep. I think a lot of this, it's a big passion project, right? Like this whole setup, but a lot of the start of passion project is just keeping. That's a good topic to touch on, like habits. Like it's a good. You need to, in order to create a habit, you kind of gotta.
Well, you have to stick to it, but also like
it.
Breaking habits and like it just takes time.
Yeah.
And like, what a good transition into this week's topic. Dealing with friends having toxic, I shouldn't say just boyfriends, toxic partners in general.
Yes, yeah.
Because we're here for the girls, gays, and the theys.
All of the above.
But I do want to start this with, we are not preaching as if this has not been us.
Oh man, we've had our fair share of.
Sorry, no, this hasn't been Georgia because I'm perfect, obviously.
Shut the heck up. Shut the heck up. You know
but
what?
Okay, so have you ever been the friend that has the toxic partner and your friends are clearly like, I don't like this person.
Yeah.
We don't want anything to do with them. Please stop.
100%. But I think the hardest part when you're in that position, because we know like the position I've been in before. Yeah, it's hard when you're in the thick of it, right? It's hard when you are, when you're at that point and in the actual relationship to see where you are pushing your friends away, because it's that limerence idea of, oh my God, they're so perfect, blah, 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 but they treat me like actual garbage. But oh my God, I'm like so unequivocally obsessed with them that it doesn't matter.
Gross.
Everything. Once you're past that point of they are my everything, you're not really seeing any of the bad things that they're doing to you and the people around you. So it's, I get it from a being in that standpoint, but also in a being a friend of that person. And I think that's part of the reason why I pride myself in being a good friend and being a good support to people in those situations, because it is super lonely, because the one person who's supposed to love you and is treating you like garbage is telling you that you don't need those friends and that you don't need that input and that nothing's wrong and that they don't see the things that your friends are seeing, and when you try to bring it up. So it's so lonely and it's so isolated, and you get in this mindset of like, I'm not good enough. You accept the treatment you deserve kind of thing. And I think that's.
You think you deserve.
Yes. Yes. You think you deserve.
I can genuinely say I feel obviously I've been in relationships that aren't perfect, but I don't think that I've been in a toxic relationship that people knew about.
Yeah,
because my relationship history is a lot different from yours.
Yeah,
where I'm just now 25 and just for the first time brought a partner of mine into our lives,
home,
like into anybody's life. Yes. Like I keep my relationships
very separate.
Yeah, and I think like a part of that is my first relationship didn't go well, and that was a whole other issue, but it was more so like he refused to be integrated into my life, and so then I just blocked any sort of relationship from integrating. But on the other hand, you bring home you bring home the
strays. Yeah.
No, I can understand why that would be lonely. And so I guess like my question, because I don't think we've ever really talked about this, is like, how is it different for you dealing with your family telling you that you have a toxic relationship and your friends telling you have a toxic relationship? Because I've only dealt with it and how I deal with my friends.
Yeah.
And And I would say like even most recently, like my most recent breakup it wasn't toxic. Like he's not a bad guy. We're still friends.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I am I preach to my girlfriends and the people around me that you deserve the big love.
Yeah.
You deserve to be the main character. You deserve to have someone that loves and cherishes you. And that doesn't mean they're going to be perfect. And there's always room for growth. And like, I fully believe that, you know, on both sides, there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be things that you have to work through. And no relationship is going to be sunshine and rainbows the entire time. And it does take a lot of work, but it shouldn't be work.
Yes. Yes.
Your relationship takes work,
but it shouldn't be work. Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Your relationship should be a place that you find peace and that you are your best self, regardless of what you're going through. Like, you could be going through really, really tough shit with your partner, and you could be, you know, constantly feeling like you're having to have these big communication moments and like all of this growth and whatever, which is all great and important. But if that's not leading anywhere and it's not leaving you fulfilled at the end of the day, and you're not walking away from those conversations being like, I'm a better human than I was yesterday. And like, these are things that like, I'm not only taking in the context of my relationship, but taking in the context of my life. Yeah. That like, these are things that I'm learning to apply everywhere, not just in my relationship, because otherwise your relationship isn't making you better. It's making you better for that relationship. Yeah. It's only in the context of that relationship. Like, and if you are only having problems about you and that person, odds are the problem is you and that person. Yeah. But if you are not experiencing these problems in any other relationship in your life, odds are that it's not.
It's just how you work
it's not
with that
you,
person.
It's like that person is obviously not the.
To circle back, I think that was an interesting point about like being in a toxic relationship and then hearing it from your friends versus hearing it from your family, because you did like every time I mean, I have notoriously bad taste in dudes.
I'm also very blunt.
Yes.
Which like this will be, and sometimes I come across as a little bit judgmental or bitchy, and like that is something that I've heard from a lot of my friends, that like I don't have patience.
But it's not like, but I think that's where kind of like the message got cut off, is like, I think hearing it from your big sister being like, he is garbage, please take out the garbage, you're like, oh my god, yeah, no, you know what, I'll get to it, it's by the door, it'll go out on its own, Wednesday is when the garbage man comes, I'll take it out then, you know, like, but you don't really, it's not as immediate. But when you have your friend sitting there and telling you, please, like, I really don't want to hang out with you if you are hanging out with him, odds are that it's gonna hit a little harder than some, because I feel like opinions of your friends aren't as disposable or aren't as they're not weighted the same as your family, right? Like, I feel like you
that's interesting. Yeah,
like you seek out those like, obviously I really weight your opinions in my life,
but it's the same thing as me telling you that like your eyebrows look bad, like, which they don't.
Thank you.
They look good, but you need to stop plucking
Jessie
them,
told
otherwise
me the other
we're
day,
going to have a little 90s moment here.
Georgia has a problem with plucking hair. We're not gonna say the actual name of it, but Georgia has a problem with plucking hair, and so when time gets stressful, the eyebrows get thinner. And so Jessie the other day walked up to me and she goes, have you been okay? Like, your eyebrows are really hurting. Anyway, but those things, like those opinions, I take that with like, I take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also appreciate it. I looked in the mirror the other day and I was like, wow, they are kind of getting thin. And then I looked back at pictures and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. She was onto something. Do they look bad? No. But it's a good place. It's a good point of like balance.
Check yourself.
When your friends say stuff, like, I feel like it goes both ways too, because sometimes you almost, your friends' opinions are watered, like sometimes they can be watered down unless you have really solid foundational friendships.
I would say that there's a lack of boundaries that comes with family, because at the end of the day, you know that regardless, which like maybe not the healthiest, but you know that at the end of the day, that's your family. They're going to love you. If it's coming from a place of love, and I'm not saying this in blanket statements, like everything needs to be forgiven, but for the most part with family, if I tell you that you have a shitty boyfriend, odds are not gonna like cut me off.
Yeah.
But if your friend tells you they have a shitty boyfriend and just outright says it, like, hey, I think your boyfriend's shitty,
It's easier.
you might be like, yo, what the?
It's easier to cut people off that way. 100%. Yeah. No.
And you feel more justified in it. But like
Yes.
you can't just, it has to take something big to cut your family off.
Yeah.
But and I get what you're saying, that like it comes with a grain of salt. I don't have that experience.
How do you feel when I give you my opinion on your past relationships?
Well, you've only known one of them.
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and like for the most part, like I would say like you and my previous, like, or I would say you and my ex are like friends.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
you
we
are friends.
I mean, I've threatened him with butter in a sock a couple times, but
that's you know what?
But
that
I
is
think
the
that's
best but weirdest
threat.
threat. So she tells you know,
Sorry.
it's
Put butter in a sock, whip it around, then it gets a little warm, and then when it smacks him in the face, it's like a good smack, you know? Did it clip? That might have clipped the audio, but oh well, because you know what? A butter sock is worth it. If somebody is it's the weirdest. It's because it
but
gives
you
it
can
that
imagine
crazy
it.
factor.
You can imagine it.
That's
though.
for my
Like,
Carly. I can't take credit for that. That's Sam for my Carly. But if I could, I am.
You are
Sam.
so right.
I am Sam.
That
from
is
my
Sam
Carly,
from
though.
my Carly.
But
wow.
yeah, no.
Throwback. But no, and I would say that like
We were friends,
you
yeah.
you
We
are
are
friends. You are
friends, yeah,
friends.
yeah.
And like I genuinely adore that. And like the fact that you guys like you have such a close relationship and he really cares for you. And like he really is on your team, and like that's always been something that like
you guys split amicably, so
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
like, mostly. So it wasn't.
And I wouldn't even say mostly. Like it's very obviously the ending of any relationship is difficult, and there's restructuring that's going to happen. But I would say that like out of any of my past relationships, this has been the one that I'm learning to navigate in a new way, because I'm very good at cutting people off.
Yes.
I'm extremely good at like I've had people, friends, partners, colleagues, people that I'm like very close with or that I rely on quite heavily, and I'm very good at cutting them off.
Yeah.
And like it's not something that's super,
I feel the same way.
but
though.
I can flip a switch.
Yep.
And like
it-
I'm done.
it's
I
done.
won't care about you. I won't ever contact you again.
Yep.
Like I am not the person that will like drunk text you
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. Like if I
Yep.
say I'm done with you, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
And so this has been the first time that door is still open.
Yeah.
And that's
'Cause
definitely new. And like I think that like I am definitely taking the opinions on the breakup
Yeah.
more not more seriously, but because this is new territory for me, it's a little bit more of like I'm trying to navigate the dynamics in a way that like is healthy for me, but also healthy for the people that I brought into this relationship, because that's one thing that I pride myself in is that I handle my shit.
Yeah.
I
think you've been and no, that is a good point, because I think there are so many places where our lives with him have overlapped lately, and it hasn't been, that was one of the things I was scared about was like, because we were so close, it was gonna be weird, and like we at work or at different like events or
well, because our lives are very much so intertwined.
Yes, so I didn't want to have to pick sides. Like I joked all the time that I was like, you guys are mama and papa at festivals and stuff like that.
But it's actually like quite true. Like, and that's like what I look for in a partner is somebody that is, and like in my life, I've structured my close people, like my friends are my family.
Yeah.
And like my family is very
a part of your life.
Like I keep my people very, very close.
Yes.
And like I'm very protective and I'm very guarded in that sense, that I don't have a lot of self-preservation, but come against one of mine and
Yeah.
you're going to see a whole other level.
It's me and mine against the world.
Like, but it's not even me. It's just mine. Like I just get very protective. And so that was something, bringing that into the relationship was new territory. And it was something that like he blended very well with my friend group and my family, and like quickly became part of all of our lives. And so I think like, and when you do that with a relationship, I do think that it's, you know, you have to have the courtesy of your relationship affects the people around you.
Yes.
And whether or not, and that goes back to if you're in a toxic relationship, you have to recognize that you brought this person into other people's lives.
Yeah.
It's, if somebody is telling you constantly that,
hey, I don't like the way this person is treating you. Hey, I don't like how they're treating me, or like when somebody is telling you those things, you have to respect it because you brought that relationship into their life as well.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that point, because
and that's hard to hear.
Yes.
Because it's hard to be the one that brought somebody in that's hurting the people that you love.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you don't want to admit that.
No.
Because it's not just you that's affected by relationships. And it's, you know, that's a whole different part of navigating it. And like, I would say that in my friendships, that's also part of how I deal with it. Is I have a thing about like, I spent a lot of time not protecting my peace.
Yes.
And I spent a lot of time allowing people to hurt me and walk all over me and take advantage of me. And like, my friends would give the shirt off my back for it. Like like will let like I lived in my first apartment in university. I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 people. Yeah. Because I just took in strays.
Give.
I'm like, I have a couch, sleep on it.
Yeah.
Like I have a bed, sleep next to me.
Yeah.
Like it's not a question for me. And so
when that starts to bleed into like touching back to the topic is when you give and you give and you give, and it starts to affect the people who are around you with that.
But it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be treated like that. And so I've started to realize that not everybody deserves that privilege. Yeah. And so when I am, you know, talking with a friend or discussing with somebody about like their partner, I take it very seriously. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, I always say that if I hear you talk about it, the same issue more than twice, it's now your fault. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you.
Because you're not dealing with it.
Yes. Yeah. No,
like,
and I think that's another hard part about navigating when you have a friend who's in toxic situations like that. Like, it's really hard to stay supportive. It's hard to bite your tongue every time, and it's hard to say like, hey, yeah, I get it. And it's hard to be
but
positive.
Also should you?
But also should you? There's a fine line between placating and enabling your friends to go back into those situations, and also being supportive so that they don't do it anyway, but don't tell you about it. Because that also can be super isolating. And when you're already in a toxic relationship, you're so isolated that it's really hard to reach out to your friends in the first place. Or it can be that when you have friends who have time and time again told you, I hate your partner, I hate your boyfriend, they're not gonna come back to you. And that sometimes that hurts.
I do wanna like throw a little disclaimer in here that when I'm talking about like, should you hold your tongue, I'm not talking about like straight up abusive relationships.
Yes.
Like there's different levels to toxicity. And obviously, you know, if anybody is ever like in a dangerous situation, I will hear you out every single time. Yeah. Because there's different levels to it. But I also would hope that my friends will never get to that point. Yeah. Because I am the person to storm into your house and be like, listen up. Yeah. Like, you are not going to treat them like that. Yeah. And I don't care if they're allowing you to.
Because now
it's my problem.
Yeah. Yeah. If you are like physically hurting somebody. Yeah. that's not the time and place to hold your opinions in. That's like
there's different caveats.
There's different levels of intervention.
But and so I guess like as someone who has been in those relationships and dealt with those dynamics of like, you know, your friends, your family not liking your partner, what was helpful to hear?
Yeah.
Or like what actually resonated with you?
Yeah, I think honestly, one thing you say all the time. You say it all the time, and you know the quote I'm going to say. Yeah. But when people show you who they are, listen and like let them show you what they bring to the table, because people's true colors are their true colors, and they're not going to.
Someone shows you who they are.
Believe them. Because honestly, I kept going back, and I kept like, you live in this fantasy world, or you live in this like limerence, lovey idea of somebody, and you keep expecting them to be better, and you keep believing in the idea that they are going to be better. But if they're never getting better, and you're hurting yourself or you're hurting the people around you, it's a wake-up call to be like, hey, they did this, and this. I'm laying it out for you. You need to listen. Like there's not, you can't make excuses for them on this. You can't continue to like let them do it over and over, because they showed you what they're going to do. They showed you how they're going to deal with it. It's now up to you. It's not up to them anymore. And I think that was a big realization, is the switch, that it's not always on them. At that point, when they are so invested in making your life a crap, like a crap pile, you have to be able to be like, okay, maybe I should stop letting them pile on the crap. Maybe I should
whether
stop.
Or not it's intentional.
Yes.
Well. Like I think that there's a big discrepancy between when people say toxic. There's certain things that to certain people are toxic or are really hurtful. Like, again, my last relationship, we didn't text every day.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk every day. It would be a lot of times it would be, you know, I work 3 jobs, so I'm pretty busy.
You're on the go.
I'm on the go, and we don't fill our time with polite conversation.
Yeah.
A part of our relationship was that we really valued
quality time, direct
depth, and intention. And so we wouldn't text every day. And that we made that very like we're very open about our relationship, and a lot of people were like, I could not handle that. I could not handle not hearing from him. That would be like a deal breaker for me. Like I need to at least like have like a good morning text. And these would be like our close friends. And I would be like, honestly, like there's certain times that it bothered me that I would be like, but I made sure to communicate that. And I would be like, hey, you know, if you know that I'm having a rough week, checking in kind of means
that means something to me.
And it's like I might not always want to get into it, but I do want to like hear you, or like if I haven't heard from you in a couple days, like even just like letting me know what you're doing, like because I'm a big offer information person. That's of such value to me. Like when somebody's like one of my biggest brain tickles in a relationship is sharing a calendar.
Ooh,
I love sharing the
Google action.
And I love sharing locations. And it's not because I need to know where you are or that I'm going to like.
Oh, that one I will disagree with you on. I do not want my location on your phone. Take that off. If you are checking my location.
Like me?
No, you always have my location.
Oh, no, but I'm talking about this with anybody. Because like I love like if you're like pulling up to my house.
I'm weird like that in a relationship though. I hate
because somebody you've had toxic relationships.
There's
things called boundaries.
That like no, I won't. I also don't want to go through your phone. I don't want you to have my location. I don't want your location. I don't want you to go through my phone because I will not go through yours. If you don't have that basis of trust in a relationship, to me, that's already not. I already don't want to proceed with you.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I know now after going through the things that I've gone through that I'm just very quick with those decisions, and maybe sometimes that can be a downfall.
Bit defensive.
That you're like that
it's something that's been used against you in the past, and like that's obviously tough, but like in my opinion, when you get into a relationship, that shouldn't even be a question in your mind.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
otherwise, A,
Yeah.
you need to do your own healing.
Yes.
Because if you are worried about them going through your phone, or if you're going to ask to go through their phone, that's on you.
Yeah.
You need to do your own healing.
Yes.
Because there's some insecurity that didn't come from them.
Yes.
That has caused you to even think about that.
Yeah.
Because I in my life, I always say that, like, if I wouldn't say it to your face,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it to anybody else.
Exactly.
So
that's my favorite gossip rule.
That is 100%.
I'm also a firm believer that gossip isn't a bad thing, and it's just
it's a way of communicating.
It's a way. It's like there's like a whole sociological topic.
But I also think that I live my life like that in my actions. Like, if I don't want you to know about my actions, I won't be doing them.
Yeah.
And there's like certain levels to that. Like, obviously, I'm fully aware of when I'm making bad decisions.
Yeah.
I'll say it with my chest.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I know that this isn't the healthiest thing, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
sometimes that self-destructive behavior, I'm a firm believer that when it is self-destructive behavior, though, and you can recognize that in somebody else, it is their fault at that point. But also, but I'm not
complaining about it.
No.
That's the caveat. Is like, I'm not going to make it like, woe is me.
Yes.
Like,
that's a big pet peeve of mine, is when people make it about them when they're doing the self-destructive behaviors.
Why does this always happen to me, or blah, blah, blah? It's like, because
please wake the heck up. Wake up. Like,
you allow it.
Yeah. No.
Like, sorry, at the end of the day, if you're complaining, like, why does my ex keep hitting me up? Why does he treat me like shit? Why do you answer?
Why do you still talk to him?
Why are you connected with him if you don't want that communication?
Yeah, no.
Like, why
100%.
are you replying?
Yes. No, but if somebody's like, oh my God, my ex is texting me, I do this to myself, I'm going to be like, yeah, girl, give it to me. What's the tea?
We support women's rights
and well, I said that today.
Yeah. But no, it's so true. And I think that, like, that is my biggest thing when dealing with somebody in a relationship like that. I'm like, A, are you self-aware enough to know that you're in a toxic relationship?
Yep.
B, what are you asking from me? Are you asking if I think that it's toxic? Do you just need to get it off your chest? Do you need to, because that's enough for you?
Yep.
Or are you asking me to tell you to leave?
Mm-hmm. Like,
because
sometimes that's important. Sometimes people need
some
that.
people need permission. And but at the end of the day, like, I will say it with my entire chest, and I will call you out.
Yeah.
And I'm not the person that's going to sit there and be like, oh, well, maybe he can change, or, oh, he's just going through something. I'm the person that's like, okay, so he's been doing this for X amount of time. You're really frustrated. It's now affecting your life that you're constantly stressed out, or you are constantly complaining about this, or, you've lost XYZ because of it. So what are you doing?
Yeah.
And, like, why am I still hearing about this?
Yes. Yeah. If you're at that, I find, like, it was really hard for me, and we talked about this at work today too, but it's very hard to switch that script into positive, like being positively reassurance, like, you deserve better, you don't have to have that sort of treatment, you, like, building your friend up so that they are able to see how their partner was breaking them down. But at certain points, it's like, please give your head a shake. I can't do this anymore. At the same time,
sometimes I think that, and maybe this is just the way that I react to things.
Yep.
Hearing that doesn't help.
No, and it doesn't. No.
And it's because, like, those are the things you're supposed to say to people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would rather hear someone say, like, hey, nobody wants to invite you to family functions because they all hate your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like, we love you and we love having you around. Why are you connecting, or why are you, like, hitching your wagon to someone that nobody else wants around?
Yeah.
Like, I had a friend, and I know, like, life of the party.
Yep.
Life of the freaking party. Best person ever. So warm, so comforting. Like, you've talked to her for 5 minutes. your best friends.
Yeah.
She knows about you. She knows about your grandma. She genuinely cares.
Yeah.
She wants to know your life's dreams. Like, she is so supportive.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend, wow.
Yeah.
Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Wanted nothing to do with anybody.
Yeah.
Didn't care who we were.
Yeah.
We're friends for years. Think I maybe spoke like 5 sentences to him. I don't think he knew a thing about me.
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to know a thing about me.
Yeah.
There was no intercommunication.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like there was no...
That also hurts.
It does.
Being on the
like,
receiving end, it hurts because you're like, okay, so this person that you care so much about, that you want to share the rest of your life with, they don't care about somebody who's important to you. I must not be that important to you.
Yeah.
Like that's what that tells me. Like in that situation.
And then it's on like I look at my relationships and I value them by the people that they surround themselves with, because you can tell a lot about a person by who is in their inner circle.
Yes. Yep.
How long have they known them? What are they like? Do they care to get to know you?
Yep.
Because if I walk into a room and I've been dating a person for a year and these are their best friends and I don't know a single person in the room,
Yep.
I'm evaluating my relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that when I decide to have a partner, they are a partner.
Yeah. I want them to be invested, like now, knowing now, I want them to be like, I want a partner. You want somebody to go out and do those festivities with. You want somebody to share your friends and your family, and you should also want to share in their friends and their family.
Because you like who they are.
Yes.
You like who they surround themselves with.
Yes. And when you like, and that's where I think the toxicity comes in, is like when you are isolated from the people, your inner circle, and you don't
when you make excuses for their circle as well.
Yes.
He's different than the others.
Yeah.
He's not like them.
Yeah.
Like he's different around his friends. Like, he's just like this when we're out in public. What?
Yeah. No. No. I think
when
that's him.
someone shows you who they are, believe
them.
them.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah.
Because I'm the same person, mind you, with a little less swearing. I'm the same person around my boss that I am around my best friend.
Yep. Yep.
A little less swearing and a little less crude.
Yeah.
But
you're not putting on a...
I don't need to.
No.
Because I like, and I think that this comes at like looking introspectively. I like who I am.
Yep. When you're secure in who you are, you're not going to act differently around the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah. And if somebody doesn't like who I am, why do I have them in my life?
Yeah.
Because...
Or you have to if you have to change something about yourself so that they do like you, why do you have them in your life? Yeah.
And there's certain things that like you learn in relationships that like, or I should say that you unlearn, because we all have a little bit of toxic in us.
Yeah.
And we all have really bad habits. And like those are things that you can change in a relationship.
Yep.
But the person,
Yes.
and this is my most controversial opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think people change. I think people can change their actions. I think people can change the way that they interact.
Yeah.
I don't think that the soul of a person changes.
Very fair.
That their intentions change. Their actions might, their words might, but I don't think their intentions do. And their intentions broadly.
I agree with you
life.
there. Yep.
That like broadly in life, my intention is to lead with love and understanding and peace.
Yep.
My actions don't always align with that.
Yep.
There is sometimes when I react out of anger or jealousy or being tired.
Yep.
Like there's sometimes where my actions don't align with my intentions. But for the most part, they do.
Yep.
And so when I say when someone shows you who they are, believe them, it's not a one-off.
Yeah.
It's not that somebody did one thing one time and I'm never forgiving them.
Yeah.
Or I'm calling them a bad person. No, I'm evaluating, does this align with who they are?
Yeah.
Because I've had some people do really shitty things to me
Yep.
that are completely out of character for them.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, I get it. Let's talk about it. This is why. It's also why my one rule, don't lie to me.
Yeah. I mean, that was a big rule, like, for us growing up, too.
True.
But,
yeah, in a lot of things.
but it makes a lot of sense is that when you're looking at people's intentions versus their actions, it's hard to decipher, okay, was that an intentional action?
Yeah.
Did they do that on purpose?
And this comes with getting to know people.
Yes. Yeah. But it's when you know somebody and you know that that isn't what they intended to portray, then it is worth having that conversation. Mm-hmm. But if you know that that person's intentions are to be a crappy human, then believe them and believe that those actions aren't going to change because the intention isn't. That makes
Are you trying to correct their actions, or are you trying to correct their intentions?
Yes.
Because you can't correct someone's intentions.
Yeah.
I think that comes from a place way deeper than any relationship will ever touch.
Yes.
Because there comes a point when you know someone, you have to decide if they make you want to be the best person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the best version of yourself.
Yes. Your partner should make you want to be a better human, a better person, a better friend, a better person out in the world. They should make you want to start to be better.
But they should also make you feel like you are
capable of that.
Are capable of that, and also deserving of the same.
Yes.
Because when you're in a relationship, I would say an intimate relationship, because I have this conversation that I think my views around relationship are, I wouldn't say unconventional, but they're a bit different. I date for intention, to love and respect and to grow with a person, but I don't hold expectations in a relationship. I don't think I need to get married. I don't think that I need to have kids. I don't think that I need to be somebody's
hit the
one
check
and
marks.
done.
Yeah.
I truly believe that, you can learn something from everybody.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this last time. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, find a different room.
Yep. Yep.
And that's what dating is to me, is I'm finding different rooms.
Yeah.
I'm learning from everybody. And my intentions are always to grow with someone until we're now holding each other back.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's when I know the relationship is over, is when I feel I can't grow with you anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not outgrowing someone. It's that I can't grow with you.
Grow together. Yes.
It's either sometimes you're putting too much into me and not focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
I'm putting too much into you, not focusing on myself. Or we're not helping each other grow at all, and we're just together for no reason.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, and I also look at my friendships like that, is I have a lot of the same dynamics in my friendships that I do in my intimate relationships, obviously without the sex.
Yeah.
But I call Rosie my life partner.
Yeah.
Because we do life together.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know each other, that I'm when something is too big on her plate, I'm going to take it off.
Yeah.
We know that if, she's going through a really hard time, I know the things that are going to make her life easier, and same for me. And she knows my little neuroses and my love languages and those things. And
but also that's a good point too, is your partner isn't always there for just a transactional kind of relationship.
No.
And it's when you don't feel like you have that support. I'll just wait. Sorry. When you feel like you don't have that support in a relationship to be able to talk through those things, and you are going to your friends and saying, hey, they're doing this, this, and this, and this, it's not out of it's because maybe that relationship has transitioned to a transactional state, and you're not there for the emotional support anymore. You're there for just what they can do for you, or what they the love language that they're trading kind of thing. And it doesn't become
I also think that's really important to find balance in that.
Yes.
Is your relationship your only source of emotional support? Yeah. And why?
Yes. Yeah.
But also what are you, what expectations are you putting on that relationship that they have to be that for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Or that, because don't get me wrong, your relationships are important, but who are you outside of it?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not an interesting person without your partner around, then it's
Yeah.
hard to be friends.
Well, and also like a relationship doesn't have to be toxic for it to be isolating.
Yes. Yes.
And like that's even harder when a relationship is so good and someone's so obsessed with their partner, but they only have their partner.
yeah. Yep. Yep.
Like, and that's something that I definitely fall into is that like and when I was keeping my relationship separate as well, like that was something that like I really isolated myself. But I think that like that's its own form of toxicity, but that was me being toxic.
Yeah.
And it took like, you know, some friends reaching out and being like, hey, I don't see you anymore.
Yeah.
Or like, you don't talk to me about your relationship.
Yeah.
Like that also really sucks. Like, and I've been in that position where it's like, hey, you've been with your partner for a few years. I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
I don't know what they like. I don't know what they do for a living. Like, I don't know them.
Yeah. Yep.
And that like, and that how close I keep my relationships, I expect that.
Yeah.
I want to know who you're with. Like, I want to be friends with them.
Yeah.
We don't have to be best friends.
Yeah.
Because I'm not dating them.
Yeah.
But I do want to be able to support them and like support you by supporting them. Like I want to, you know what they do so that I can like have interesting conversations with them or like, because I also like to brag about the people that I'm with. And if I can't brag about your boyfriend, I don't want you with them.
Exactly. I want to be like, hey, my best friend's boyfriend is so cool. He does this, this, and this, and this, and this, and also treats her so well. Like it's nice to gas it's nice to gas the people you love up. I love it. So it's hard to,
because sometimes it's hard to brag about yourself.
Yes.
And it's so nice when your friends brag about.
Yes.
Yeah. Like it's so nice to hear, and like it's validating, but it's also like encouraging. And I think that if we talked about the good more, that it would just, people would have those expectations. That like relationships should be good. You should have those big lovey moments, and like not every moment needs to be, he brought me flowers every day, blah, blah, blah. It should be like, he knows that I hate changing the coffee filter.
Yeah.
So he just does it.
Yeah. Yes.
And, you know, like, he knows that I hate when you leave the towels on the floor. And sometimes he does. But then he'll see me looking at it and be like, oh, God,
sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Because it's not about being perfect. And it's not about all the big things. It's about your intention.
Yes.
And, like, really circling back to that, like, if my intention is to make you happy, I will find ways to make you happy.
Yeah.
But I think that's also, if somebody's intention is in a relationship is just to be in a relationship, they don't really care about you.
No.
And you're going to see it in their actions.
Yes.
You're going to see it in, you know, they're going through the motions. They're saying the right things. They're, you know, taking you on dates. But are they trying?
Are they even there?
Do they know you?
Yeah.
Like, are they doing the things that actually matter?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to take a step back and evaluate that for yourself and for the people around you. And I think that like having a third party, having a friend, be able to evaluate your relationship and be like, you know what? He does this really well.
Yes.
Could he work on this? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's something you can both work on.
Yeah.
Or like that. And also like, how do you talk about your relationship problems?
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing that I find. Like, I find that if I have friends who talk to me about their relationship problems, but they've never said it to their partner.
Yeah.
They've never said that issue bothers them, or
then that makes sense to talk to your friend about it, right? Like when you haven't discussed it with your partner, or you're scared, or you have these feelings come up because of maybe something triggered something that happened before, that's when you go to your friends and you're looking for an answer and an opinion or advice on that. But if it's not in the realm of, okay, I've had this conversation, it's been done, I'm bringing it to you now because I don't feel heard, that's also a different, it's hard to give advice at that point. It's hard to intervene, or it's hard to,
at that point I feel like it's not advice. And like I kind of was going in a different direction, but I see where you're coming from. I was going with like, if you've never talked to your partner about it, why are you talking to me?
Oh, 100%.
Because And like, if you really are, if you're talking to me beforehand being like, am I overreacting? Am I like taking this out of context? Because there is some times where like,
Yeah.
and we both know that I do this. Sometimes I'm like, hey, was this my brain talking?
Yeah. Or was this something that
the gremlin
yes, yeah.
talking that is trying to create a problem?
Yeah.
And like, that's fine. I'm there to give you advice for that.
Yeah.
But if it's something like, oh my God, I hate that my boyfriend's always late. Like, he never is considerate about like what time he's picking me up, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, have you told him?
Yeah.
What did he say about it?
Yeah.
If you're like, well, I don't want to bring it up, like, but why?
Yeah.
Why don't you want to bring it up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but how can he fix it if he doesn't know it's wrong?
Yes. Yeah. That's another, that is a good point. Yeah.
Like, but then it's also like, yeah, I've told him a million times that it like bothers me so much. And he just says that I'm being dramatic or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what is their reaction to problems?
Yes. Yeah.
Because if I'm seeing, like, if you've had problems in the past and it's, you know, they've dealt with them with patience and understanding and come up with solutions.
Yeah.
If I've seen that from your partner in the past and then all of a sudden they're being like really combative and like, that's when I'm going to be like, whoa, okay, what else is going on?
Red flags up. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is obviously not who they are or what their intention is.
Yeah.
Then I'm willing to support you through a hard time.
Yes. Yes.
But if nothing in your history has shown me that,
yeah,
kick rocks, kid.
Yeah.
Like, get away from me.
Yeah. Please. Please.
Like,
read the room. Yeah.
Like, you have to show me the good. But
yes. No,
I think that like it's so complicated and so it's touchy.
Yeah.
People get very touchy. But
yeah.
what was the best and worst thing that was said to you when you were in a toxic relationship?
Oh, honestly, I think the worst thing was you can do so much better. You can do so much better. I think that in a toxic relationship, you aren't thinking about better. You're thinking about the better with them. You're not thinking about, oh, this, like a partner who treats me with this, and this, I would love that. You're thinking about, oh, why can't my partner treat me like this, and this? Mm-hmm. You're not thinking about looking for better because it seems really tiring and you want to work on the thing. You want to work on the relationship because you still love that person. It's just you don't know.
And you've invested time in it.
Yes, you've invested time.
Oh,
yeah. No, I think that was probably the worst. I think that was probably the worst thing that somebody ever said to me in a relationship because it seems so simple from the outside, but it's hard to.
That feels just really disingenuous.
Yeah. Like, yes. Especially in that point.
But I didn't. So
so what am I supposed to do now? Yeah. You're left like, okay, that really didn't help. But if you're but I think the best thing was, Georgia, I don't know who you are anymore.
Ooh,
that
one hurts.
I don't know the person who you're becoming. I don't see any light in your eyes. I don't see the person that I was originally friends with.
Oof.
And I don't really like the person that you're becoming.
Ooh, I've had to say that.
And that hurts. It hurts, but it's also like a wake-up call. And that's why it's the best thing to say, is because they knew you at your best, or they knew you at a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And when you are your worst version of yourself, it takes a really, really good friend to say it with their chest and say, hey, I don't know you anymore. I need you to
and
like find
sometimes
yourself
just enough
again.
To like shock you
Yes.
out of whatever bullshit you're in.
Yes.
And like I think like the hardest part is like with one of my friends, I had to look at her after watching an interaction with her and her boyfriend. And it was, and mind you, like this was not a friendship that like she brought her boyfriends around very much. Like we were always very like surface level with her relationships. And she knew that because they weren't great.
Yeah.
But after watching, I was over at their house for an evening. After watching them interact, we got in the car to drive home, and I looked at her and I was like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have never seen you speak to someone that way.
Yeah.
I was like, you were mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh
this
my
is,
God.
and this is something that's like,
Yep.
like, obviously I know all the history and I know their dynamics, and like, I know that like they had been in a bad place for a really long time. But I was like, I have never seen you speak to someone that way.
Yeah.
If you ever spoke to me that way, we would be having a serious conversation. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, she literally sat back and was like,
oh my God.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
was it really that bad?
Yeah.
And I was like, you were awful.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, you were so mean to them.
When you hate,
like,
when you hate yourself, like, so much, you're gonna hate, you're gonna put that hate onto a
God.
relationship. And you know what? Sometimes, some girls just hate their boyfriends. They really hate them. So it doesn't make sense. Like,
can we stop doing that in relationships?
Yeah.
Like, the whole like, oh,
I hate them.
If the wife leaves you out, like, why do you hate your partner?
Why do you hate your partner?
Why do you hate your partner? Why is that a fun joke?
No, truly. Like, why are you, if you're in a relationship and you hate the other person, you're constantly complaining about what they're doing, or you're constantly like,
Because I'm like,
I'm
I'm gonna have fun with or without you. And I always said this. I'm like, if I want to go somewhere, I'm gonna go somewhere. If I want to do something, I'm gonna do something. But if I'm in a relationship, my whole like litmus test
yes,
is if I have more fun if they're around.
yes,
If they make the experience better because they're there.
Yeah.
Like, and that is my bread and butter, is that like
100%.
I need to be able to live my life. I'm a whole person.
yeah,
I am two halves of a whole. I am complete in and of myself.
yeah,
But with someone, am I a little bit brighter?
yeah,
Am I a little bit more comfortable?
and they should,
And they should. And like, that is the biggest thing that you have to ask yourself at the end of the day. Are you in a place that you can provide that for someone?
yeah,
And you can make someone else's experience better.
and you can make that person brighter, yeah,
And you can make that person brighter. But are you getting that in return?
yes, yeah,
And really, truly, overarchingly, because obviously there's going to be good and bad and ugly and whatever, but does it come to the point where you want them in your life? You don't need them.
yeah.
You want them.
You make an active, and I think like anytime you ask an older couple about how they lasted so long, it's always, you wake up, you choose to love that person day in and day out. You choose. It's a choice to make an like to actively choose another person and to actively want them around. Yes, and it should be easy. And it shouldn't be, you shouldn't be
even if
sitting
loving
at a
them
function
that day isn't easy.
Yes.
Because they're annoying the piss out of you.
Yes.
The choice overall should be easy.
Yes. But if they're annoying you all the time and you absolutely cannot stand them,
find a different person.
why are you with them?
Lord, like, trust me, I get it. Being single and lonely is like not super comfy.
Yeah.
But also,
I would rather be lonely.
You need to have better friendships and better relationships in your life. If you are so desperate for companionship that you are staying with someone that you actively dislike.
And I think like when you haven't, that's another point with toxic relationships, is when you feel like you haven't received that wholesome connection with somebody. Sometimes you look for that in other people because it's what's familiar to you. And when you are, I think that's where it comes from, is when you're right. No, please. Everybody needs therapy. Please book a frickin' therapy appointment.
Okay, so what is your biggest advice for someone in a toxic relationship and a friend of someone in a toxic relationship? What would you tell the person in a toxic relationship?
Ooh, this may be controversial, but keep going back until you're done. Keep going back until you're completely done.
Oh, I can see that. Learn your lesson.
Learn it, because one thing you say all the time, I don't know how exactly you say it, people are there for a lesson or
a reason, a season, or forever.
Yes. No, it was like lesson or a blessing or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, we can go with reason or a season. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, and like
reason or a season
do you
forever.
know your reason yet?
Yes. So sometimes when you haven't learned your lesson, or you're in a relationship where you keep trying these things and you're like, oh, I still love them. I still need them in my life. I still want them around, but they're treating me so badly. You have to go back until you're like, oh my God, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it.
I always say, I'm like, is your sentence finished or your chapter?
Yes. Yes.
Because you can be done with someone for a minute and your sentence is finished.
Yeah.
But is your chapter finished?
Yeah.
Are you ready to move on? Because sometimes you need a couple more sentences.
Yes. Sometimes you need to clarify.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And like, I have no problem with like, go back to him if you need to. Like, go
figure it out.
And really, really be sure about your decision.
Yep.
And like, that's fine. But recognize what you're doing.
Yes. Yes.
But then when you're ready,
leave. When you are ready and you know that you're not, you know that you can't go back anymore, you're going to be so much more ready to leave when you know for sure. Yeah. And I think that's what, and
it's
I think
that's
hurt
a lot less.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's also a big thing with women in relationships as well, is like I think, and this has been said before, but women disconnect a lot longer or a lot earlier. Yeah.
They start ending the relationship
well before it's ever. Yes. So it's kind of like that, but it's also like, if you need to go and have like a little rendezvous after you've broken up a couple times, it's okay. Keep going back until you know that you can't no longer need that.
I'm a big believer in breakup sex.
Yeah, me too. You know what?
Not
you know
for
what?
you.
No. Listen. Breakup sex. Sometimes breakup sex is what you need. Sometimes that's all the closure you need. I don't want to have a big long conversation with you. You know also, what you did wrong.
Sometimes there's something super thrilling with not being in a relationship anymore, but being free to say all the things that might hurt them.
And sometimes that creates an even playing field.
Only come out when you're no longer trying to fix something that's beyond repair.
Yes.
When you're able to just lay your cards out on the table and be like, look, we're never going to be together again. I really don't think that you were that in love with me.
Yeah.
Or like, I really don't think that you.
Or like, I
like
really don't think
to spend time with me or whatever. Like, it's like.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I think
you're able to like say those things and just be like,
with certain people, I've gotten carried away with that even playing field, and it starts to become a mind game. And I know I'm capable of that, and I know that I go down that path, and I'm aware of it now, but it did, like, that was almost an excuse for me to be like mean. And I didn't like when it gets to that point, when you do get to a point where you know you can't go back and you're done, you do start to see yourself start to become a meaner person.
Yeah. Check yourself though.
Yes.
And
so go back until you can't go back anymore, but also,
do you still like yourself when you walk away?
Yes. And
because I'm the only person that's going to be around my entire life.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, you are the only person that will be there for your entire life.
Yes.
Do you like them?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But okay, so then second question.
Okay.
What would you tell the friend of the person? Like, what do you think is the best advice you can give someone who's being the support for someone in a toxic relationship?
Oh, that's a good question. Holding space is important, but remember to also protect your peace so that you can continue to hold space.
Big one, yeah.
If you are constantly hearing that the complaints and you're constantly trying to deal with that person and you're so invested and you're so there, sometimes when you are in the thick of it and you're hearing it all the time, it's hard to hold space. And oh my God, like the whole meme, holding space.
But it's also hard to be productive.
It's hard to continually give your friend the support that they need when you are like, when you're thinking to yourself the whole time, oh my God, I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear about this again. I don't want to hear about this again. So you have to be able to be able to tell your friend, hey, I need to step away for a bit. I need to think about this. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm not here to support you. It's that I need to be able to process how I'm feeling about this so that I can hold space for your feelings about this.
Well, and also like you should have the relationship with your friends to be able to be like, I'm frustrated with you.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated that I have to hear this conversation over and over and over again and you're not doing anything about it.
Yes.
And also sometimes you have to tell your friends, I don't want to hear this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have had this conversation. I've given you all of the advice, all of the support, all of the bandwidth that I have.
Yeah.
I don't have any more space for this.
Yes. Yeah.
Because sometimes cutting that off is one of the most helpful things, because somebody who is like, oh, I really have talked about this so much. Yeah. Eventually it just has to end.
They're going to realize, okay, I've talked about it a million times. Maybe I should do something. And maybe that's the turnaround. And I do think that it depends on person to person, because some people don't take that criticism lightly.
No.
And they get really defensive. And and we both know people who get really defensive when their behavior or actions is called out. So it is a different navigation. I think that's where the positive reinforcement or the positive redirection comes in, right? Like, it's like, you could do better, you do deserve better. Those are the situations. But when you have a friendship with a person who they really need that, you have to be able to be blunt, and you have to say, like, hey, pull your head out of your bum right now, it's not a hat, please, like stop wearing it around.
Like, the biggest thing that I think anything in life comes down to is, what are your intentions?
Yes.
Lead with your intentions, and be able to call your friends out and be like, what are your intentions in life?
Yep.
Like, what do you expect from you and the people around you? Yeah. Does this align with that? And make them do their own work.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not there to do the work for you.
Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah. Yep. All the little idioms today.
I love my little sayings.
Idioms are
I'm a yapper, that's for sure.
I
had a medium tell me once that I had
Sorry.
What?
Sorry, a medium? Sorry, no, sorry. Go.
Medium.
You had a medium tell me once
that my path in life was to lead with my voice. So it's really ironic that we're doing a podcast, because I was like, I ain't talking to people.
I had a medium.
But yeah, that like my gift in life was just to talk to people, and I was like, I hate that. And then I realized that, like, no, I am a good listener, and I give good advice, and now pay me to do it.
Sometimes, yeah, no, no, actually, I had a medium tell me once that a lot of spirits follow me around. Like, I have like a lot of...
Yeah, they do.
That's a little... Also, I mean, I kind of like it though.
It's because your soul is very like
I just like
to be for answers, and you want to be loved.
We're
getting on to a whole other topic, but I'm so glad that we made it here.
I'm really glad we have. I'm very glad.
I'm very proud of us that we have started building this habit.
Yeah.
And
I hope you guys...
We're just going to make sure you eat next time, so that you're not toxic in this habit.
Yes.
Because she's a little scary when she's angry. But
a little scary when I'm hangry? Maybe a little bit. Georgia doesn't know how to control her face.
I would just
when
like
she's angry.
to say thank you to my 4 friends that are listening at this point, because you know what?
We love you.
We
love you. Thank you for giving us content.
And you know what? Like, thanks for listening to me rabble on for an hour.
Yeah.
Because I truly
it's a good
think
time.
that I sometimes talk way too much.
I love editing these.
Oh God.
Jesse, I'm so sorry, but I am going to admit to you, when I am editing this, I tell myself to shut up, but I also tell you to shut up. I'm like, Jesse, please, for the love of God.
You know what? That is why I don't edit these. And I will say that with my entire chest. I could not, because I would get so sick and tired of hearing myself talk.
Yeah.
But now let's go get a beer.
Let's go get a little brewski.
Let's go
get a brewski.
Let's go get a beer with my ex.